Gen X grew up on late-night warnings.
It's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are?
Scared, straight.
This is your brain. This is drugs. This is your brain on drugs. Any questions?
And were inspired by movies that defined a generation.
We were all pretty bizarre. Some of us are just better at hiding it, that's all.
Hey, Doc, we better back up. We don't have enough road to get up to 88.
Roads? Where we're going, we don't need roads.
I feel the need for speed.
We found our attitude in comedy.
I'm Gumby, damn it!
You see that sign? No shirt, no shoes, no dice.
Right. Learn it. Know it. Live it.
And our identity in pop culture.
I want my MTV!
I want my MTV.
I want my MTV!
What are you talking about, Willis?
Keep your feet in the ground and keep reaching for the stars.
This is Gen X Men with Bill Rowland and Gary Dollarhide.
Life moves pretty fast. You don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.
All right, welcome in, everyone. Bill Rowland here, Gary Dollarhide there. As always, it is episode number 17. That number has little significance to me other than I wore it in high school for my baseball number, I think 1 year.
Ooh.
I was number 5 1 year and number 17 another year. So
you didn't get to keep it?
No, because I wore, if I remember right, I wore 17 my junior year because somebody else had number 5. It was a guy who was a senior. So I had to wait till the next year to actually get number 5. So yeah.
You didn't make that part of your contract like the pros do?
I didn't.
If I'm going to play, I have to have this number.
Yeah, I know. I probably should have, but no, I think I wore it in like when I was on the JV team my sophomore year. I think I had 5 if I remember, and then I wanted it the next year, but they didn't have it, so I ended up wearing 17. And again, it had zero significance to me. It wasn't like I was like, oh, I'll wear this because another guy wears 17. So yeah, I ended up 17 as a junior, and I think 5 as a senior, I think, if I remember right.
Yeah, see, and I never played a sport that allowed me to have a number. So
no, you guys didn't. Wrestling singlets didn't have numbers on them.
Nope, you were just weight classed.
Yeah, well, you should have had your weight across the
right.
front of the singlet.
Well, that was my problem one year. I think I can't remember the category breakdown, but just small school trying to fill all the gaps. I'm wrestling at the 167, 172 weight class, and I probably weighed 125, 130 pounds at the time. So didn't go well, but hey,
there you go.
I started on varsity.
There you go. We got a bunch of stuff to get to. Obviously, we're going to talk about some of the headlines from that's going on now, as well as get into your Gen X, kind of rewind and stuff. We'll talk a little 40 years ago this year, all the good movies that came out. I know already it's crazy to think about. We are as far away from 1986 as World War II was in 1986, pretty much 40 years. Think about it that way. It's crazy that's basically the difference in years.
Jeez.
Yeah, not great. Makes you feel old.
It does.
In any case, but we'll talk some movies from 1986. You guys can drop in. Don't forget, like and subscribe. Hit the button down below. All that good stuff. We'll talk about. You can comment in there about your favorite movie from 1986 and everything else. But want to talk about. It's crazy how much. And you and I were talking off the air, on the phone earlier this week. It's crazy how much like gold and silver has gone berserk in the last, say, year or so. Mm-hmm. It's wild because I can remember, again, because I'm old, I can remember being back in college with our buddies, Chris Jolly, one of my fraternity brothers, and we would sit around like you do when you're 20, 21, 22 years old and thinking about, oh, I've got this thing all figured out. And we're like, you got to buy gold. You got to buy. We need to, what we need to do? We need to just put our money together, buy a bunch of gold, and years from now, we'll be rich. Well, it wouldn't have worked out that well because it hasn't been until the last year that gold and silver has really gone absolutely berserk, right? I mean,
Truthfully, yes. I mean,
Yeah.
there's been market adjustments in the past year that have allowed as some would say, and I won't get into all the conspiracy theories, but the true price discovery to allow itself to be found, especially in the silver markets.
Right.
They said for too long it was manipulated, suppressed, etc. Maybe, probably, just from what I know. So yeah, it would have been a long-term bet for you to win on the other side, but you would have won, and that's kind
of course
the great thing about it. I remember for a little while when I worked in DC at a business news station, and I will remember this. Can't remember the guy's name, but it was at a cocktail party, and I kind of did what's your best financial advice? And his thing was buy things not because of their dollars, but because of their intrinsic value, land, gold, silver. And of course, when you're 20 something, you're like, yeah, okay. Right. Because stock market was going even well then. Right. But as his point was, things cost more today because the value of the dollar dropped.
Right.
That's essentially what he was saying then. So guns, gold, silver, there's always going to be a value attached to it. They probably won't go to zero. So it just may take time for the play to work itself out and make it valuable. But yeah, it's been quite a tear this past year on gold, silver. And I think a little bit, because I started getting into a little bit, was back during COVID. And these discussions of, is our currency really worth anything? You should be buying things that hold their value. And that's kind of when I started dipping my toe in.
Yeah, it's funny. I just looked it up. Again, because we were, a dumb, stupid, drunk college kids going, this is exactly what we need. This is how we get rich. Well, if we put $1,000 into gold in 1992, it would now be worth $6,000. So that's pretty good. I mean, 6 times your money.
Yeah.
But it would have taken you over 30 years to get to that, which again, it's not a horrible proposition. But it's not like you would have got rich as a college kid going, I'm going to drop $1,000 into gold.
Yeah.
And had it. Now, if you had dumped $1,000 into gold, into silver a year ago, you'd be up almost 200%. That's pretty good for year over year. You more than double it. That's pretty good.
It's definitely hitting its stride this past year. Yeah. The thing, gold forever has always been, it's not a growth instrument.
No,
it's a wealth storage.
Right.
Exactly. And a hedge. But, again, it's always going to kind of follow this path of it's going to be worth this. It's going to be worth that. It's going to be worth it. Right. It just stays with the adjustments in the markets and everything. So like you said, $1,000 20 years ago is worth $6. And you're like, well, that's not a lot of growth, but it's still worth $6. Right. So and that's why for the longest time, gold, silver, precious metals were always a small percentage of your portfolio just to be your safety net.
Right. And it's always, you always saw those ads late night on whatever, cable channel where they're trying to sell, get your gold and silver and everything else. And you just kind of went, okay, sure.
Right.
But
it's old man money. That's what
it should have.
Right.
There's a lot.
Old man money.
The funny thing is probably, and who knows what it's worth now? I'm sure it's not thousands of dollars, but it's probably a couple hundred. My mom still has what was given to, I think, what would have been my grandfather. So her dad, I think when he got married, someone gifted him I think it's 250 gold coin or whatever it is. And back in the day, that was probably $100, maybe even less than that. This is from the 1920s or something. And she still has it. It's in a safe in her house. And I think the last time I looked, it was a few $100, but I'm like, that's what you're talking about. That's what a gift that they got for their wedding and just never used it. Cause this is gold. So they held on to it. And that's kind of where it went from. I think I have one silver coin somewhere that it's in a silver dollar that I'm like, okay, cool. Somebody gave it to me for good luck or something. I'm like, okay, put it in a box. I need to find that. That's probably worth, if it's an ounce of silver, it's worth $80, $90 now, right? Isn't that what silver's up to?
Yeah. We're about I think 88 is what I saw this morning. So yeah, it depends on the year because you got to be pre-64 for U.S. coinage to actually have silver.
No.
Oh,
This
it was
is
a
an
real
actual
silver.
silver dollar. Yeah, this is
okay.
an actual, like, it says on it 1 ounce silver.
Oh,
one
okay.
of those. Yeah, not like the quarters. Yeah, if you go back and it's got to be a pre-64 quarter and it's got some silver in it, those are worth a little bit more. No, this is an actual silver dollar.
Oh,
yeah.
You're sitting on $88 today.
I know. I should go out and have a big lunch today. When they bring me the tab, I'll just
flip the coin out.
Silver dollar down and be like, there you go.
It'd be like
Thank
the
you
Old
very
West.
much. Yeah.
Right.
They're going to be like, sir, what is this? I mean, it's $88 if you take it next door to the pawn shop. Well, they'll probably only give you $60 for it, but that covers my lunch.
Yes, it does. Same way people when the dollar coins came back out. I remember because I thought they were neat because sometimes it's just easier to carry the coins, and I remember using them and people go, "What? That's a dollar coin." I
or
didn't
the
short you.
Sacagawea coins. Those are the first ones that came out. Yeah, my dad, and again, he was just one of these dudes. He has every single, and again, it's in the safe in my mom's house because he collected a lot of stuff. This actually, I mean, it's not a ton of money, but it's $25 every single roll. He has all the dollar coins and the $25 amounts that you could get from the bank or whatever.
And the rolls, yeah.
He also has every single state quarter in rolls as well. Now, some of those are worth more than others, uncirculated and all that kind of stuff. But at the time when he was doing it, I'm like, it's so heavy. Because like in a box, it is. It's in a box. And I'm like, this is $10. Because the quarter rolls, it's $10 worth. And the dollars, it's $25. And I'm like, it's like 60 pounds worth of like just change, it feels like. But yeah, I mean, he saved all that stuff. It's a few $100s that they're just sitting in there, which again, it's not a lot of money, but for just buying them and having them there, I guess, sure, whatever. I don't know. He's got all that. He had all that stuff though. So he collected all
that was the fortune he was leaving you kids.
Yeah, exactly. It's great. It paid for the U-Haul truck to move it from one place to the next is about all it did. So yeah.
Now, did he ever pay? Now, was he one of those? Did he pay the real estate taxes in pennies?
No.
Okay.
No, he never did anything. He never did anything like that. I mean, again, what it was is he had an old, I think not college. He didn't go to college. High school friend is what it was that worked either for a bank or worked for the mint. I don't remember exactly what it was. He had some connection that an old buddy of his, he would send him, $50, and then the guy would get him, when it came to the dollar, coins, would bring him 2 rolls of the dollar coins, the $25 rolls. So he would just be like, oh yeah, I can't remember the dude's name now. Rick, whoever it was. Oh yeah, Rick can get me the state quarters. So he'd give him money, and then the guy would give him the roll of state quarters or whatever. He just did it because he thought they were cool to have. I maybe he thought they'd be worth something at some point. I don't know. I have no idea. They're not, but.
Well, I mean, they're worth what they are worth, whatever that is.
Yes.
And I guarantee you he's done much better with that than some of these people out there buying these NFTs a few years ago.
Oh, my God. That.
Right?
I never understood. I mean, it's kind of like it's the same thing with, I guess I sort of get Bitcoin a little bit more, but not really. But I never at all understood the NFT thing because people are like, no, I own it. And I'm like, no, I can
copy it.
I have it here on my phone. I'm like, yeah, I can get that on my phone too, just by taking if I want to, I can download it. But they're like, yeah, but you don't own that. I'm like, yeah, neither do you. Like,
yeah,
unless somebody wants to use it for something and you own the copyright to it or whatever it is, or the publishing right, your little, what was it, ape? Was it the apes that started the whole thing?
Caricature? Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, your little whatever ape is worthless. Like, why are you paying? Now, again, there was a lot of conversation that it was money laundering and everything else. And maybe it was, who knows? But a lot of people, I think, lost a lot of money on NFTs.
Yeah, I do believe there was a nefarious angle to it. I think what someone was trying their hardest to do was recreate a new value line, kind of like art, but for the digital age, right? Because we know paintings, we can authenticate it, and that's a real Picasso, and it's worth X. And they were trying to replicate that, but you can't. And that's the whole. It's the whole thing. It's not physical. It's not real. Yes, we can make copies of Picasso, but we all know the one that's real. We can figure that out. We can prove it. We know where it's at. But a digital item that's just I's and O's and computer, no, that's just never going to fly.
It's I had to look it up because I didn't want to have people be screaming at me. Bored Ape is the name.
Okay,
Bored Ape, or the Bored Ape Yacht Club was the other thing. I mean, it makes 0 sense at all. I mean, it just makes no sense. I'm sure there's a bunch of, crypto bros out there that are mad and are like, no, that's not true.
You guys don't get it.
Okay, I don't get it because I wouldn't pay $1.3 million for a cartoon ape, which is what some people did. Of course, I wouldn't pay $40 million, even if I had $40 million, for artwork either.
Yeah.
But I mean, here's the thing. I heard somebody was telling me again, you talk about being able to launder money, whatever, is you buy the art for X amount of dollars, then you donate it or whatever, you get that amount off on your taxes. Like there's a whole system that rich people know how to do that we have no idea. And that's why they continue to be rich and can do all these things. That painting isn't worth $40 million. Now, again, it's like anything. It's worth what somebody will pay you for it. It's kind of like baseball cards or trading. I don't do Pokemon, so I don't know about that stuff. But baseball cards exploded during COVID as well. You're talking about gold and silver because there are a bunch of dudes, a lot of Gen X people that were sitting at home that went, I got nothing else to do. I think I'll open up this old shoebox of cards that I've had since I was a little kid and see what's in there. And then they were finding things that were worth a lot of money. And then they were also buying some of the newer stuff and being like, okay, I can sell this for money. And now it's exploded, but there's starting to be a backlash against it now as well, where people are like, this isn't what collecting was supposed to be about. Because there are people that'll go into a card shop and they'll buy a box and go through and maybe they get 1 or 2 cards that they think are valuable. And then they'll just leave the rest of them. They'll just literally be like, give them to somebody. I don't want these. They're not worth anything. And they're probably right. They're probably not worth anything. But the whole idea for me from the time I was little collecting was like trying to make the full set of whatever that year was. People don't really do that anymore. That's kind of a lost art, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And for me, because I knew you were more into it, like for me, it wasn't the set. It was just, I wanted all the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's why I bought my football cards. Right. But it turned into, and this is where I got confused later on. I think for us growing up, it was Topps and Fleer, right? There was just 2 and that was it.
Donruss,
and then it turned into this.
Yeah. They had Donruss, but that wasn't on the football side of things. Yeah. Topps was basically the football folks.
And I remember, I guess, the first explosion before COVID back then, like all of a sudden there's this card maker, that card maker, and it's gold foil. And I kept going, well, how is this? There felt like there was so much out there. Like, how was it valuable? Like, I didn't understand what was happening if the market's just flooded with all these cards makers and doing different things. Like, how does, there's a reason why, say, a rookie OJ Simpson card is worth something from way back when. But if you get into the more modern times and you have a rookie and there's 800 versions of a rookie card, then how is it really that valuable? And that's where I got confused during that time. Like, I don't get this anymore.
Yeah, it's parallels, it's colors. You have orange, this, purple, that, rainbow, as you said, the foil. You've got Topps Chrome. Yeah, it's all over the place. Well, I only know some of it. My cousin knows it way better than I do. But yeah, it just got, what happened was when we were kids, about the time that I stopped like going and collecting all the time because I discovered girls and other things. But like
Right.
the mid 80s
Okay.
into the early 90s and everything, that's what they call the junk wax period, where it just got, they just sold a ton, like millions of cards. So they're not worth anything because there's literally millions of that card out there.
Okay.
Well, now what they did is they started making things more rare. So you might have a card that's 1 of 50 or 1 of 99 or 1 of, and that's where the value is because oh, I have 1 of only 50 varieties of this card. Now, there may be 6 different varieties and 1 of 1, 1 of 25, 1 of 99 of the card, but maybe it's got a different foiling on it. Maybe it's got a different color on it. Maybe it's got, like they do Christmas versions where instead of a bat, they put a candy cane in the guy's hand on his card. And so that's a card that, the Christmas variation. I mean, It is absolutely insane. If you want to try to collect, like say you're a big Shohei Ohtani fan and you go, I want to try to get every Shohei Ohtani card that comes out this year. Well, 30 years ago, you could probably do that. Even if you had to buy Topps, Upper Deck, Fleer, you still maybe had 10 cards that you had to try to buy.
Okay.
Now, you probably have 30 to 40, if not more, of that one player to try to collect all the different cards that they put out in a year. It is absolutely insane. Yeah. You're better off buying gold or silver.
Okay.
That's
well, I was going to say, should I dump all the gold and silver I have and go buy cards now?
No, you shouldn't. But you should if you still have any of your old, because football wasn't as junk waxy as baseball was back then. So if you still have any of your old 70s and early 80s football cards, if you know where they are or you can locate them or don't throw them out, you might have some that are worth a couple $100.
Yeah.
So
I don't know what happened to mine.
Well, that's the problem.
They may be in storage. Or I can't remember. Maybe I got tired. So that was the thing. Like I may have gotten tired at some point and just said, just get rid of them. I don't care. So
yeah, and just said, "Nah, I'm not gonna here." Here's the most heartbreaking thing, and this story is no different than 1,000 other stories for our parents. As far as their mom not knowing what she had. My dad graduates high school, goes off to the Army, comes back, and years later, obviously, and realizes that his mom, my grandmother, had tossed, like many moms did, these things he had when he was a kid, he doesn't care, tossed his baseball collection.
Uh-oh.
Now, yeah, my dad was a huge baseball fan because, again, he was born in 1938. So when you're 12, it's 1950. That's when Topps was first. Topps started in 1952. So baseball was king. People weren't really, football was not as popular.
Yeah.
It was baseball, literally baseball and boxing, I think, were the 2 biggest sports at the time. Maybe horse racing might have been 3rd ahead of football at the time. Anyway, he had all of these cards and she tossed them.
Oof.
And I remember years later, and this would have been the 70s. So this is probably 20 years after she tossed them. I'm going out and you're a kid, of course. So being an 8-9-year-old kid or whatever it was, I'm like, oh, I'll go out and play they had hunting dogs. So I was like, I'll go out and play with the hunting dogs. Well, the hunting dogs had their own little, shed, basically almost like a chicken coop, except it was for hunting dogs, their own little kennel type thing. So I'm in there. The dogs are all running around. I climb up into what is like a storage area up above, and I find a couple of boxes. And I'm like, oh, again, being an 8-year-old kid,
what's
in the box? So I open the box, and there are literally hundreds of these cards that you can barely make out because they've been outside in the elements for 20-some years. You could make out some pictures, and you could make out a little bit of letters, but literally as soon as you picked it up, it was like cardboard. It just to dust.
Uh-oh.
So I know my dad was not lying when he said, oh, I had all of these like Willie Mays and all because I saw them for about 2 minutes before they went to dust. Because I tried to bring the box in, and literally by the time I got it in there, it was like it looked like it had almost been through a shredder or something because they just fell apart in your hand. There was no saving them and even being like, okay, this card is not even a 1. It's just this is an actual card. We know it's authentic. It was just trashed.
Heartbreaking.
Trashed. Oh my God. It was, I think about it now, it was even then thousands upon thousands. And I don't mean like 1 or 2. I mean like 10, 15, 20,000. They would easily be worth 6 figures today. Easily.
Wow.
If they had been kept.
Yeah.
It was brutal. But yeah,
if Grandma just kept them in the house.
If she had just
put them in the closet
and not tossed them, because my dad even said, because I said, well, yeah, but they were probably all messed up because you probably put them in your spokes like all the other kids did. And he was like, actually, he goes, I don't know why. He goes, I didn't like seeing them bent. He's like, I just put them and line them up in the shoebox. He goes, he goes, we trade them. He goes, and I would take them right home and put them right back where they were. He goes, other kids, they'd flip them against the wall. They'd play, the flip game. Yeah. We didn't do kids, but they would flip it. And I guess if one leaned against the side of the wall, you won, or I don't remember how it worked because I never did it. He tried to tell me. He was like, I never wanted to do that. He goes, because you get them dirty. He goes, I didn't want my cards getting dirty. And I was like, I cannot believe you're telling me this. It's like all of that just goes, you had no idea what you were doing, but you were going to preserve these cards. They would have been unbelievable. But
wow.
But Grandma. It's not as good as gold and silver, that you should be buying, I suppose. So
yeah. But yeah.
Also, one thing today, before we jump into the movies, it is, as we again record this on the 16th of January, the 18th Amendment ratified back in 1920, the start of Prohibition. 13 long years that probably gave rise to a lot of criminal activity, I would imagine.
Yeah,
Mob,
I mean,
Al Capone, all that stuff.
What I love is you read the history about the temperance movement. We need to take alcohol out. And then you realize once you read the stories and understand it, yeah, we kind of diminished it, but it still existed. I mean, yes, it turned into a criminal element,
right.
But as far as I could tell, other than not just being able to walk in and get some, alcohol on demand that you had to seek, it was still out there everywhere.
Of course.
So it was just kind of like, what did we do? But,
nothing.
Yeah. I mean, you created NASCAR with the moonshine runners, but
right. Yeah.
Just everything I read is, it was kind of the wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Oh, it's illegal, but everyone knew where it was, right, where to get it. And it just created criminal enterprises. So
bathtub gin and all that other stuff. I know there's a famous, and I can't, in fact, it may be called the Blind Tiger in Charleston. I think that may be the name of the bar, actually. That's where you would go if you knew the secret that some of these places had back rooms or whatever, that you would go and say, yes, I'd like a ticket to see the Blind Tiger. And they'd be like, oh, okay, that's how they knew that you knew about. I think
you're in the club.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. I got to look that up real quick. I think it's Blind Tiger. I think that's the name of it. Let's see. Blind Tiger, Charleston, South Carolina. There we go. Yeah. So I got to figure out exactly what it is. So yeah, the term Blind Tiger was coined. Oh, okay. Actually, in the late 1800s. So it wasn't for Prohibition. I'd always heard it was Prohibition. But it says the Blind Tiger was coined in the late 1800s to describe the illicit drinking and gambling establishments operating their doors as temperance legislation swept across the country. The first Blind Tigers in South Carolina sprung up in the Holy City in 1893 as a defiant retribution to the dispensary laws mandating the infamous Governor Ben Pitchfork Tillman. So yeah, you had to be able to say, I'm here to see the Blind Tiger. So yeah.
The cow walks at midnight.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
any of those phrases where you just go and be like, yeah, here's the thing. I always thought the story that I'd heard is from the 1920s, but apparently the temperance laws, which makes sense in South Carolina, that they're probably just like, I think aren't there still blue laws in some counties in South Carolina, North Carolina?
Yeah. Yep. Was it Myrtle, South Carolina? You can't buy alcohol on Sundays.
Sundays, yeah.
So yeah, I mean, not alcohol wise. I was talking to wife Susan the other day about blue laws back when I was a kid. Like there was nothing open on Sundays in Virginia.
Right. That's
Restaurants opened after church, usually about noon.
Yep.
But other than gas, you weren't going to go shopping at Sears. I mean, just there was nothing was open. Sundays were the Sabbath, and that's it.
Yep.
Go to church, go out to eat, and that's it.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, I can remember 7-Elevens. Virginia had the blue laws because you would have to, I mean, even up until like in college, I think, even when we started, that you'd have to go like Saturday night if you were like sitting around, playing poker or doing whatever. I remember guys would be like, hey, we got to run to 7-Eleven. It's 11:30. You had to, because as soon as it was midnight, they went and locked the coolers to where the beer was. Mm-hmm. So I made many of 11:30 7-Eleven runs because it was like you got to get there before midnight because you can't buy alcohol after 12.
Yeah.
So yeah, they had all sorts of laws like that.
Well, no, I mean, and that's probably because I grew up in Virginia. I wasn't exposed to alcohol until I got to college. So let's start there. So not knowing whether you could buy it, not buy it. But yeah, I do remember some of that in college having to run. But you just brought that memory back of, hey, if we're going to get someone or to buy it for us or something, we got to go now because
Yep.
Sunday's going to be shut down. So
yep. Yeah, you could. So imagine that nowadays, if you had to make sure you were stocked up before Sunday, like NFL football, you couldn't be like, oh, we're out of beer. Go buy a quick 12-pack before kickoff. No, you couldn't. No. You were stuck. You'd have to borrow from your neighbor or something and hope that they had it. I mean, seriously, that's what I mean. Yeah. You wouldn't. I mean, my mom still doesn't drink. My dad had quit drinking by the time I was born. So, yeah, there wasn't alcohol in my house. I didn't know that was a thing until I got to college.
Yeah.
And I remember the first time somebody's like, hey, we got to run if we're going to get beer. It's 11:30. And I'm like, what does that matter? They're like, oh, they locked the coolers at 12. I'm like, they do? Why? And they're like, it's against the law. And I was like, okay. Then that's when they explained, like, yeah, you can't even have, like, that's why there are no, like, dance clubs or bars in Virginia. They're all restaurants. You can't have a bar. So, and I think that's still true that most of your sales, at least I think in Fairfax County, maybe different other places, that you can't X number.
You have to serve food or something.
Yep. And
to qualify.
Right. A percentage of your sales has to be in food and only a percent. I don't know what the math is, but yeah, that was the whole thing too. I'm like, okay, didn't know that. So that's why the places like down in Old Town Alexandria, like the fish market and other places, are open all during the week for lunch because they need to sell their food for it when it's more of a bar. So yeah, crazy stuff.
Crazy rules.
All right, you know what else is crazy?
What?
This college basketball thing.
Oh,
have you been following the college basketball gambling indictment that just came out in the last day or two?
I saw the headlines and just kind of shook my head. As you said earlier, it's existed. It's just now, it was easier to get dark forces involved, but now it's easier to track. And that's, I believe, why they got caught. Because, now it's all computers and algorithms. They can figure out things. Like you said, if all of a sudden a large amount of money goes on a game that no one really cares about, that brings up a red flag.
Yeah, you're not going to get as many red flags if Carolina and Duke are playing. That's a big college basketball game. There's going to be a lot of money that's bet on that game, a rivalry game. So if you've got 100,000, 200,000, up to millions of dollars being bet on that game, no one's going to really bat an eye. The regulators are going to be like, okay, but that's a big game. If you've got hundreds of thousands of dollars being bet on Kent State and Buffalo, red flag.
Something's up.
Immediate red flag. And so in this indictment, they had, I think, 20 different people, a lot of them former college players. And again, I'll go back to it is easier to get caught because they have, tracking and everything. And everybody's like, but these guys, it's NIL money. They shouldn't be. Why are they taking a chance for a payout of $10,000, $15,000? Well, if you're playing at Kent State or Buffalo, that's still a significant amount of money, even if you're getting quote unquote NIL money. You think Kent State or Buffalo is paying guys $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 a season? Heck no. If you're getting 75, even $100,000 from Kent State, and you can get $15,000 for throwing a game, or if you're a Buffalo, I guess it was Buffalo, the players that were actually throwing the game, not Kent State. But you can get 15% of what you were going to make for the whole season for one game, and your team stinks anyway. Why not? Why wouldn't you do it? Who's going to know? Except for the feds later.
Right. So here's my question to you, because you are
I'm around it.
You've been around it. So I question, unless you get the star play, like to me, it seems like it would be hard altering the game based on some of these players I saw. They were like reserves and secondary. Right. And I'm going, well, how can they really affect the game that much? Well, because you don't know how many minutes you're going to, unless it's, hey, this is the star point guard. He's playing 30 some minutes a game.
Correct.
We figure he can alter the game. But some of these other names they were talking about playing 5 and 10 minutes. I'm like, can they really alter the outcome?
No. Here's the thing. This is where they screwed up, because one of the ones, obviously, you went to George Mason. I went to George Mason. I do their games. George Mason was not listed in any game at all in this indictment. There were, however, teams in the A-10, which is the conference that Mason is in, that were named in this indictment, and players that were mentioned in the indictment. One of the games was LaSalle at Fordham. Now, these are all from a couple years ago. So none of these kids, because I went through and looked, none of these kids are still in the A-10. As far as I could see, they're not there. So I don't believe I'm speaking out of pocket here as far as this goes. But I read the Fordham, LaSalle, thing that said what was going on. And I said the exact same thing as I'm reading the indictment. I read probably half of it in the last couple of days. It's 80 pages long. I think I got through about 40 to 45 before I went, I can't read any more of this. And that game, one of the guys that they had, I went back and looked at the box score because I remembered the kid's name. I was like, oh, yeah, I remember that name. He played 15 minutes. Okay. He was not a starter. They lost that bet. They ended up losing that particular bet. That kid went 0 for 3 from the field and had 3 turnovers, which is why his ass played 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure the coach was like, it ain't your day, sit down.
Yeah.
And the guy who was really good on that team, Kyle Rose, who was not in the indictment at all, so this is nothing against him, had a fantastic game. He dropped 23 in that game. Fordham won, a game that they were supposed to lose if the scheme had gone correctly. But Kyle Rose wasn't a part of it, probably didn't know about it, and went bananas that day. So, yeah, one of the first things I said to Carrie when I was telling her about it, because I was like, if you hear any of this stuff, if people ask, no, Mason isn't involved in any way, shape, or form in the indictment. No players or games that we were involved in are in here. Because I'm sure people would, maybe ask me, like, doesn't your fiance work for them? Are they gambling on things? That kind of stuff. But I told her, I said, as I'm reading it, this is the dumbest thing I've ever read, that you would get a guy who is getting 15 minutes a game to think that he could influence the game enough to change the outcome. He can't, because if he starts playing bad, your ass is on the bench. Go sit
and that was the big thing, because, as we're talking about Mason, I see this year, just for an example, there's 9 guys playing.
Yeah.
And once you get past 3 or 4, the time playing shifts based on the game, game scenario, what they've done, not doing it. And so that's why I was like, well, unless you're getting a core player involved, what are these fringe players giving you to shave these points? Because you don't know. They might get, maybe the only way they're going to play more is blow up, right? Which then kills off what you were trying to do if you were trying to get them to lose. So it just didn't make sense to me on the surface of some of these things I saw. Especially you got 5 guys. There's so many variables, especially in basketball, that I see that, to me, unless you got a core player involved, it'd be too hard to do this.
Yes. I agree. I think
Okay.
you and I think that's in some of the other instances, and I have to go back and look at the names because I think in some of the other instances they did have some of the main guys, and that's why it worked as well as it did. Now they didn't win every bet, and the other thing that's funny is I went through and I think you and I talked about this off the show. Man, they need to do a better job of proofreading these indictments because the feds, I'm reading through it and they're talking about the Kent State Buffalo game that we referenced before. And it was a game where they were betting on the first half spread, not the full game spread. The first half was Kent State had to win the first half by 8.5 points. Well, the game was tied late in the half, 25-25, right? Then Buffalo gives up a 12-0 run to end the half. So at halftime, it's 37-25. And that's what it says in the indictment. But in the indictment, it says Buffalo or Kent State did, or the people that were trying to fix the games did not win this bet. And I'm like, what are you talking about? You just in the paragraph before said that the line was 8.5. Kent State led at halftime 37-25. You do the simple math, they covered the 8.5. Like, what do you like? I'm like, how does this? So if you're a defense lawyer and you see that, you should be like, well, you can't even figure out if they won this bet or not. How is the rest of the indictment? How can I trust that? Now, they've got these guys, I think, dead to rights because they have text messages. They've got them sending pictures of stacks of cash and sending it to the players and being like, hey, let them know this is on the way. I mean, they have again, I read the indictment just to kind of get the depth, to see what the games were, just to get the lay of the land on what games they had. But then they were down like the descriptions of like the text messages and everything else. And they're talking about, oh, so-and-so sent a picture of, and it's like stacks of, 10,000 stacks, here's 10, here's 10, here's 10. Oh, let them know this is coming their way if they get this game. I'm like, you guys are the dumbest people on earth. Like, don't do any of that.
Yeah.
They were fixing Chinese basketball games as well. And here's what I'll say. If you were one of the guys that was playing over there and was involved in that, you best not go back to China because I guarantee you their mafia or criminal organizations that probably have their hand in fixing games as well, if they realize that you went against what they were trying to do, that's not a great idea, not a place to be.
A dangerous game, if you will, getting involved in that kind of stuff. But
Absolutely.
what I love is, and friends of mine, law enforcement say, is sometimes modern technology, social media is the greatest gift of figuring out who the criminals are.
Yes.
So
criminals are stupid.
Texting pictures and evidence of everything you've done. Wow. So
well, it's no real different than, we've seen all this stuff going on in Minnesota. We're not going to get into what happened with the ICE agent or whatever, but now you've got a bunch of vigilantes out there that are protesting ICE and they're filming themselves breaking the law. Yeah. Saw a guy that was like, oh, we're following ICE through Minneapolis. We're not going to let them. I think we've got an ICE vehicle here. They're just following random SUVs. And it's like, we saw the one where they stopped the guy, these citizens, and he like opens up his trunk and he's like, it's camera equipment. And he's like, now, and I give the guy credit because I wouldn't have stopped for him. I'd have been like, I'm sorry, do you have a badge? See you later. Like, I wouldn't have been, there's no way I would have stopped for him. But this guy was like, hey, I get what you're doing, everything, but, and opens it up and you hear the women that are just like, I don't know. He's, and then another one's like, I saw him yesterday. I think he's fine. It's a thing. And then this lady goes, you really got to be careful driving that type of vehicle around here, with everything going on. And the guy looks at her and goes, it's what they gave me when I rented the car. She goes, well, you could have rented something else. And he goes,
oh my goodness.
And he goes, are you paying for it? I mean, that was the only time that his eye are real. I give the guy credit because I would have lost my mind.
Oh, yeah.
But he was like, are you paying for what I rent? And it was kind of like, then you need to shut the,
the Dave Chappelle.
Yeah. He's kind of like, yeah, exactly. It's exactly. So
No,
he
I
went back in his car and left. But there are other people like filming themselves running red lights. They, nearly getting into accidents because I'm going to follow this SUV. I'm doing my civic duty. You're a moron, is what you are.
yes, you are. No, I saw that video, and it got me a little hot on the collar because I said, if that had been me, I would not have been as nice. They wouldn't have got the time of day. I don't know where it would have gone because what I'm doing as a normal looking guy, because he was like what, in a white polo or something.
He was an overweight middle-aged dude. He one of us, except he's taller than me because he looked to be about maybe 5'11", 6 feet tall. But he was just a big, little bit overweight. Not to body shame anybody, but we all are at this age now.
Yep.
Yeah, just a normal dude. He just looked like a guy going to pick up his kids from school pickup.
Yeah, the conversation would have lasted about 10 seconds because I'd been like, my business, not your. I mean, I'm getting a little riled up now because that'd be no different. Me just coming up, hey, what you doing? None of my business, right? The golden rule: I'm not going to bother you. You don't bother me, and that's where we leave it. But seeing these videos like that, just oh man. Similar was another one. These guys were out duck hunting, totally permitted, the whole 9 yards.
This was in Canada, right?
Yeah, and this woman just comes up, just expletives, and you need to be, and just like, hey, nope, we're okay to be here. You need to calm down.
Right.
If you have a concern, call the authorities, whatever you need to do, but it's not for you to address the problem, right? So yeah, just there's been so much of that lately. It just gets me stirred up.
I just don't understand, and I know there'll be an argument on the other side of it, but when did people just stop minding their own business?
Yeah.
Like when did that become a thing?
Wow.
Like that you got to be that nosy and you feel like you have to do no, you're here and I'm here, so I need to. No, you don't. You don't need to know what's going on.
One of my coworkers blames it on social media because
that's fair.
As he said, it's empowered people to say things, and then by not having repercussions, go out and physically do things. Because his point is, these people will get on social media, mouth off, say things, right? And someone might say something back, but that's about it. He goes, in the old days of real world, if you went and did that to someone's face, yelling at them, whatever, and then you got punched in the mouth, you learned, oh, maybe this wasn't a good idea. So it kind of exacerbates the other. And for whatever reason, we have seen some consequences, but not to the extent where people learn from it.
Right.
So
It's the old Mike Tyson thing that he said. Twitter has made it so you guys don't know that when you should get punched in the mouth for something you said. I forget the exact quote, but it's basically the same thing that Mike Tyson has said. Is like, exactly. You learned real quick who you can and can't talk to, or should not say things to, because you would get beat up, basically. It's true. But nowadays, even more with the rise of like the UFC and everything, you also don't know who's trained it all. You have no idea. You have no clue if the kid that's standing next to you, if you're in a bar, and we've seen some of these videos where, somebody will be hitting on somebody's girlfriend. The dude's like, hey man, just back off, and they'll try to get you. And somebody steps to him, and then all of a sudden it's one punch and you're out, because the guy is a semi-professional MMA fighter and knows how to throw a punch. And now you're laying on the ground because you wouldn't leave his girlfriend alone. You see those videos all the time.
Yeah. No, we have in one of the smaller towns around here, we actually have a retired Navy SEAL who became a police officer. And he's the most unassuming, thin, just guy that you would ever see. And we were kidding around like, there's going to be one day someone's going to challenge him at a traffic stop or something going on. And, forget the weaponry. They're probably going to find out something they don't want to know, because you can just, great guy, but you can see it in his eyes. He's wired differently, right? You just know that, other than his stature and look at him, you see it in his eyes. He's like, you don't want to mess with him, because that's not he's not going to lose. So
right. Yeah, I don't understand. Again, and people probably say, well, it's because you're selfish or ego. Or I've never understood at no point, no matter how much I disagree with something that the government does or somebody, at no point have I been like, you know what I need to do? I need to go out and stand in the middle of the street and block traffic and keep people from going about their day. That's going to solve
their business.
I would love to know how many things have been solved because somebody went out and blocked traffic for an afternoon.
Yeah.
That suddenly everybody went, you know what? They're right. We should stop drilling for oil because some moron glued his hand to a picture or glued his hand to the street, which I've seen happen, where they, glue themselves to the sidewalk or something. It's like, oh, they did that? They're probably right. We probably should stop doing these. Like, it doesn't happen. It does not happen. So I laughed at the one on the, like gluing their hands to the paintings. I'm like, what a statement would be. Because I would ask them, say, how about we just cut your arm off and leave your hand on the painting? Because that's going to be a statement that lasts longer, and see if they want to do that. Right. Or I'm always just like, I always just look at it and go, if I'm them, let's just shut the museum down for the day, leave them there. Now what? Now you're gonna sit there in the dark. You're gonna be like, hey,
I go to the bathroom.
Yeah, exactly.
Pick up the painting, carry. I need
some. I'm a little thirsty. Maybe you should have thought about that before you glued yourself to the ground, you moron. I mean, it's unbelievable. It is unbelievable. Just the idea that again, your signs, your protest. It's both ways. I've seen people out there that are standing across from like abortion clinics with their horrific pictures, and it's awful.
Have at it.
But it's like, you know what? You're not really changing anybody's mind, I don't think. All you're doing is elevating a situation that doesn't need to be elevated.
True.
So I don't care what you're protesting. Odds are you're not changing anybody's mind.
Yeah. I mean, and that's what I meant earlier is protest. If you want to stand over with your signs, do it. I don't know if it's going to really do anything.
It's not everybody's way.
If that's right, that's the thing. Don't impede anyone else from doing whatever it is that they want to do, because that is, the God-given freedom that we have here, unlike other places. So just don't impede other people.
Yes.
Once you make it a problem for other people, you've gone over the line.
Yeah,
so
exactly. You need to have your freedom of movement that we are allowed here. Yes, absolutely. But you're right. I mean, that guy that they stopped, I don't know how they did it, because you only see about 1.5 to 2 minutes of the video. So I don't know how they got him to stop anyway.
Yeah.
But they've got to be careful, because you may stop the wrong person, and that escalates to something that you're not prepared to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when it gets really bad, really fast.
And I know there's some people, because I heard it, but I know there's some people out there waiting to be that guy, because now they want to prove the point the other way, right?
Which doesn't, and
waiting.
That's not the way to go about things either. So I mean, you shouldn't be out there seeking conflict for any of this stuff. And again, a lot of it could have been avoided. There's a lot of different things and theories and philosophies on how it could have been changed. And if I were smart enough, I would be an elected official. But I'm not.
True.
Or maybe I'm too smart, and that's why I'm not an elected official.
That's the problem.
That could be the other way too.
Because you want to solve problems, most elected officials don't. So
right. You have to keep the problem so you can campaign against the problem you're not going to actually fix anyway.
Correct.
That's the whole story. And until people realize that, and I've put it on X or back when it was Twitter all the time, I say it constantly. I have zero use for 90 to 95% of politicians in this world. And that's from the local level all the way up to the president. I have zero use. They're not in it for you. I don't care what any of you think that, this guy's going to come in and he's on my, no, he's not.
Nope.
He's on his side. And whatever's good for him is what he's going to do. Current administration and past ones both, and future ones. Because I don't see anybody out there that I'm like, hey, you know what? I think that guy's pretty sincere. I think he'd do a good job. Nope.
Nope.
They're all shady. All you got to do. I love the people. We were talking about gold and silver earlier in the episode and stocks and everything. I love the guys that are now tracking all the stock buys for all the different congressmen and senators and stuff. And they're making a mint. I keep saying I need to get involved in this. I need to start following those guys and literally doing the same thing, just trading on it, because they're crushing the NASDAQ and the S&P. Like every year, they're killing it because they know the insider trading is what these people are doing. It is fascinating to I was just watching a video earlier this morning about them. They had 2 or 3, and it's both sides. They're not it's not just Nancy Pelosi. That's the one that everybody screams about. It's her. It was Debbie Wasserman Schultz. It was some other. I can't remember the other Republican dude's name. Yeah, it's like all
they're on
shady.
They get the info on the committees and kind of make these little buys. And that's a pet peeve of mine because I've watched it too. And I just wish, again, here's your example. Someone should say, hey, while you're serving in Congress or whatever, nope, you're not going to actively trade stocks and anything, right, at all. Like, yep, you may have money, put it in a trust, but nope, they won't pass that legislation now, will they? Right?
No,
and they all want to make money.
And that's what I said. I give credit. There are some of them that are in Congress that are like, yeah, we don't need to be doing this, and they want to pass that bill, but there are some market. They're not going to do that. Like, that's cute. You keep talking.
It's cute.
That's cute. Yeah, I'm gonna make my $100,000 a month with my trades and everything. No, you just go on. So, Anyway, well, we're gonna get to movies, but we're almost an hour in. Do we want to save? Yeah, 56 minutes in. Do we want to save the movies from 1986 to another time, another show, perhaps? Because I would hate to shortchange all these.
Yeah, let's not shortchange it because we were also going to talk about the grossing actors and actresses as well.
Oh yeah, we can hit that real quick because that's not a long conversation. Like if we were going to talk about all the 86 movies, and there are a lot of good ones from 86. That needs to be a whole episode. So you showed this to me. Is this all time or is this just recent?
This is all time. Okay. So your number one is Zoe Saldana at $15.4 billion. Now, it doesn't mean she made that. What this is based on is what the movies she's been in have made.
What they've grossed, right.
Yeah, so she
What's her
is
name?
now
Zoe what?
Saldana, Soldana. Now, I've seen her. She's been in Star Trek. She's been in Mission Impossible. But when you go through this top 10 list, it's the Marvel Universe, my friend.
Oh, I'm sure.
Which kind of threw me for a minute. I was like, when I started going through the name, I was like, oh, in Marvel, somehow they've been in a part of the Marvel Universe. So the only 2 outstanding that weren't, Tom Cruise and Dwayne Johnson.
Okay, The Rock.
Yeah, The Rock. He comes in at number 10 at $11.46 billion from his movies.
Wow.
So, but I'll go down the list. Zoe Saldana was 1. Scarlett Johansson was 2. Samuel L. Jackson 3. Robert Downey Jr. 4.
Yeah, there
Chris
you go.
Pratt
Iron Man.
5.
Yep.
Tom Cruise at 6. Chris Hemsworth at 7. Vin Diesel at 8.
But he's not Marvel.
Oh, but he voiced Groot.
Oh, he did?
Yes.
I had no idea.
So that gets calculated in besides his.
I mean, I would go with the 1,000 Fast and Furious ones that he's.
Yeah, I was going to say 28. You said 1,000 episodes of Fast and Furious, but he voiced Groot in the Marvel series, Guardians of the Galaxy, whatever it is. Not overly familiar with all that, but anyway. So Chris Evans at 9 and Dwayne Johnson at 10. So 8 of the 10 have had their hands in the Marvel universe to reach these lofty levels. So
Zoe, whatever her name is.
Zoe Saldana.
Yeah. Again, I'm looking at her wiki now. I got nothing.
Right.
And it's mainly because not that she hasn't been in stuff that I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
I think I remember her from Pirates of the Caribbean, The Curse of the Black Pearl. Yeah, more than anything, because I have no idea who Gamora is from Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
And that's her role. No clue at all. So, and that's not against her. I've never seen any of those. I've seen the Iron Mans, but I never saw Guardians of the Galaxy. I haven't seen any of the Avengers, which she's been in a bunch of those. She was in Avatar: The Way of the Water as well.
Yep.
So that's a huge one. But yeah, never saw that. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, Avatar: Fire and Ash. Was she in the first Avatar?
I'm
looking back. Yes, she was.
She was. Yeah, she's been that female character, I guess, all the way through the series.
Oh, okay. Now that I see her, because obviously you wouldn't recognize her as, was it Near Tiri or whatever, however you pronounce the
I saw the first one.
Yeah. Well, she's from the first one.
Yeah.
I don't remember. I don't know how to pronounce it because I'll be honest, I really didn't like the first one.
Yeah.
So I haven't seen the other ones. But now that I know that, okay, so that makes sense. She's in, that's a monster franchise, obviously, with Avatar. So she's been in all 3 Avatars. That's huge. So it makes more sense now. And okay, so I didn't know her by name, but now that I've seen, like, okay, I know who she is in that. Okay, I remember her from, Pirates of the Caribbean. So good for her making.
She works a lot.
Yeah, making
that's what it amounts to.
$15 billion. Yeah,
she works a lot and gets in the right franchises. So
she's
good
smart.
management for her.
Yeah, she's smart. I mean, what'd you say? Mission Impossible? She's been in or no?
She was in one of them, and that's all those other things you mentioned.
Trek.
That's the one I remember. She was in Star Trek, the latest generation.
Well, she's been into
movies.
a couple. Yeah. Star Trek Into Darkness, Star Trek Beyond.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
All the ones with Chris Pine in it as Kirk. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's done a lot.
Yeah. Good for her. That's awesome. I have no idea. I wouldn't have been able, if she walked up to me and said hello on the street, I'd be like, hey, I'd be nice to her. I'd be like, hey, how are you? I wouldn't have been like, oh my God, you're from Guardians of the Galaxy. No idea. Wouldn't have had any idea. I'd have been like, all right, that's a very nice person. She just came over and said hi to me. I wouldn't have known. That's probably on me. That's fine.
So yeah, it was an interesting list because, and obviously it's changed now with media for us, but when you think of who's making the money at the box office, you would start to think of Tom Cruise and maybe some others. But when she pops up at number 1, she just eked out past Scarlett Johansson. It's like you said, you've done a lot and made some money apparently. But it just, she doesn't stand out as the, whatever you want to call it, the screen legend, if you will. If you had to make a list and think about people who are in movies making money, she wouldn't be the one that came up on the list.
Right.
I give you Scarlett Johansson. She's done a lot, even beyond. Same thing beyond the Marvel. It just.
Well, she was in Her, right? Wasn't that?
She's done a lot of movies, and again, I knocked it down, but she's done other things. Whereas you get into like a Chris Evans and Hemsworth, it's kind of you kind of
That's
done well with your franchise,
right? Yeah. Right. Let me see Scarlett Johansson. I'm just gonna flip down. Other than the Marvels, they don't have a list of them here on her wiki. I thought they'd have a list, but they don't.
Filmography.
Yeah, I thought they would do that, but they didn't do it. So I don't know. But I'm with you. It's one of those things that you just kind of go, okay, yeah. Now, once you start thinking about it, you go, okay, it makes sense. Again, Zoe was in Avatar. She had a Mission Impossible. She's done the Guardians of the Galaxy. She's done the Avengers. So you start adding that up. While she wasn't necessarily the lead, she has had a significant role in all of these. So it makes perfect sense.
Yep. So. And then, like I said, I thought Dwayne Johnson, it was a little bit surprising because, we know him from wrestling. Yeah, he's done a lot of things, but it didn't feel significant. And then you see the numbers like, oh, well, almost 12 billion for him.
Well, you think about like Moana. He was in both of those. Doing the voice.
Jungle Cruise.
Yep. So he's that Disney franchise dude. So
yes.
That's where he gets it. So
Yeah. What's the Jumanji?
Yeah.
You know, he was in those. Great job with Kevin Hart. So, yeah, it was just kind of surprised. Like, oh yeah, you start going through it, it's like, wow, he's done a lot. So, you know, again, kudos to him and his management for positioning perfectly to, you know, make the transition out of wrestling to become a Hollywood star.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And if you did this maybe 20 years ago, it probably would still be Stallone, Schwarzenegger, you know, for having those franchises, you know, Rocky and Rambo and all that kind of stuff. They probably went up there, but the Marvel stuff has just taken over everything.
Yeah. And again, maybe it's my age showing through. I haven't watched every single one, haven't gone out of my way to even watch any of right. I did not go to the theater to see any of these movies. It just happened to catch like the old Iron Man on cable rerun at work or something. So it kind of opened my eyes like, wow, this thing is huge compared to what I thought and paid attention to that they've done with the Marvel universe.
Yeah,
so.
you know, it's enormous. And I'm with you. I can't do it. I've seen the 3 Iron Mans because I like Robert Downey Jr. So I've enjoyed those. I even tapped out years ago on all the different Spider-Mans. Like, I don't think I've seen a Spider-Man since Tobey Maguire was actually Spider-Man. Yeah. I haven't seen any of the new ones.
I don't think I've seen past the first one.
Yeah,
because just tell the story.
Yeah. I've seen it. I saw the ones after that, but I never saw like, was it Spider-Man Coming Home or Spider-Man whatever, Homecoming? I don't know what it's called.
And they changed actors.
Yeah, with Miles Morales instead of Peter Parker. It's like once you start having a different person, and I don't mean the actor, but I mean like the person itself. Once Spider-Man is not Peter Parker, that's not Spider-Man to me. Yeah, that's like if you had a Batman and it wasn't Bruce Wayne. Like, no, Batman is Bruce Wayne. You can't have somebody else take over that thing. It's like that's who it is. Sorry, you want to have Batgirl and everything else? Okay, fine. But if you start making Batman somebody other than Bruce Wayne, then that's not Batman.
Yeah.
So
wholeheartedly agree.
Yeah, that's where I am on that stuff. But it's not for me. It's for all the kids and comic book people out there. But I think people are getting tired of it.
Well, and so I wonder because, you know, the Marvel comics were our age group, right? And far as I know, comic books dropped off a bit.
Yeah.
So was it hey, we're going to introduce these movies to catch the people in our age group who kind of go, oh, and they've taken their kids to it. And now the kids are picking up the torch like, hey, that was pretty cool. And so they keep making the movies because, you know, like I said, this all came out of comic books. And far as I know, after, you know, the 80s, you know, it was hard to find them anywhere.
Yeah.
Like it just wasn't a thing anymore. So resurrect the concept and see if it'll drag. I guess it's like Star Wars, right? You know, the original movies, we were kids. So they keep making new ones and we keep going back to see the story in a way. And then our kids get involved with it. So,
yeah, you know what? I'm surprised Harrison Ford isn't on that list.
Oh,
it just, you know what? It just shows you though, because it's all money based. So things are way more expensive now and everything else.
True.
I wonder if you took that list and
adjusted for inflation,
adjusted it for, what the equal dollars. I mean, Harrison Ford would have to be up there.
You would think. I mean,
because he's got the 3 Star Wars, actually 5 Star Wars movies. Because wasn't he in 2 of the other ones before they killed him off, or was it just 1?
Yes.
I don't remember.
No,
or maybe
3
all
middle
3.
and the last 2 of the last 3 that came out. Yeah. But not in the front trilogy.
Plus Indiana Jones.
Yep.
Those were monsters. I'm surprised he's not. Again, I think this is all more recent. None of those actors really started more than 20 years ago, right? Or thereabouts, maybe 25.
Other than Tom Cruise would be the only one, and Samuel L. Jackson.
Okay. But I'm surprised. But both of those guys, again, Samuel Jackson's because of the Marvel movies.
Mm-hmm.
Tom Cruise is from Mission Impossible, and he's had a bunch, other stuff too. But I bet if you adjusted it, Harrison Ford would have to be close to that.
Yep. Or he's just out of it. Because Dwayne Johnson 10 was $11.4 billion. I mean, for all we know, Harrison Ford might be at 11.3, right?
That's true.
And it's only the adjustment for time and other things that have kind of brought him back down. So I'll research it. I'll see. I'll look it up. Because it would be an interesting to look at to figure out, how they base these numbers and then all time. And I think you're right. A lot of it's probably just adjusted for what's being made now.
Right.
Yeah. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll look at it because it's crazy how much. I mean, it's kind of like we talked about before with Stallone with Rocky and Rambo. But all right, so I've got it here, and see, this is. I'm looking to see real quick. See, this is as a leading actor. He's at $3.5 billion. He's at $924 million as a lead ensemble member. He's at $1 billion for supporting, $602 million as a cameo. So yeah, you need to figure out exactly what it would be for everything. You'd have to add that all up.
But even those numbers didn't sound like it was going to reach even 10 billion.
I mean, yeah, I guess not. It's 4 billion. Let's call it 5. It's probably 5.5. But again, that's without adjusting, for inflation and everything else. So I don't know.
I mean, even if
I think it'd be close.
Would you say 5 billion was kind of your thumbnail?
5.5, yeah.
So even if you double that, he's still below.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Dwayne Johnson 11.4.
I'm just surprised at that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but
I mean,
again, I don't know how far when they said the grossing. Is it just box office? I mean, this is include ancillary things because
right.
Yeah. But it was such a big story when I looked at it and said, who, what, she, her? Because it, again, like you, it
did make sense. Right.
It didn't make sense, but read more into it, I guess.
Yeah, we'll have to research a little bit more. All right. Well, we are well over what we usually try to get to as an hour. We're at an hour 12, but that's fine. It's a fun episode, good episode. Had a really good time. Sorry we didn't get to all the other movie stuff, but that'll come in another episode down the road. So you can look forward to that. So you can still tell us what your favorite movie was from 1986 down in the comments, whatever else you want to do. What do you got coming up this weekend? Again, we usually have this out during the week, but it's Friday, so we'll get it out today. So what's the weekend activities planned? The big long weekend, MLK Day on Monday.
I am on another 48-hour shift starting tomorrow at 7 a.m.
Okay.
And if I can survive that, then I'm looking forward to our 5 p.m. tip-off with George Washington on Monday.
Right. That'll be a good one. So do you guys usually see holiday weekend? Because for people who may not know, again, we've talked about you're an EMT. Do you see an uptick if it's a holiday weekend of like nonsense that's going on, or will this be typical for any other time?
This weekend will be typical for any other time. I mean, it's winter here, so people just kind of stay in and stay warm. But yeah, definitely, Memorial Day, Labor Day, you're big because we're in a beach area.
Right.
That's where you see that nonsense in the summer. Not so much for
you.
this or Washington's birthday or any of these fun upcoming
right.
holidays that gets us through the winter.
All right, I got you. All right, any parting thoughts for us?
Well, we didn't get to the movies, but I'm going to use it anyway. As Thornton Mellon said in Back to School, we're here for the good times, not the long times.
This concludes this episode of Gen X Men with Bill Rowland and Gary Dollarhite. Gen X Men is now off the air.